So specifically on Doomed earlier this week, I had on Christopher Mathias of Huffington Post, where we talked about his great reporting outing Richard Hanania as a bigger white supremacist than we had previously thought. The guy is constantly posting about race science and IQ. And saying that, black people are inferior. But he did so in a more right-wing intellectual way, which made him a favorite of very many, right-wing lawmakers, and especially the venture capitalists of Silicon Valley. But then Christopher Mathias of Huffington Post did some legwork, found some old leaks related to the comment section discus that's still used on a lot of platforms today. And he did some other digging around, and he found that Richard Hanania went by a pseudonym on various white going back more than a decade now. And he was a quite prolific figure in those, in those circles. And then, of course, a couple days after Christopher Mathias is reporting outing Richard Hanania as the pseudonym on white supremacist websites, a couple days after that reporting published, Elon Musk followed Rich Hanania on X. So, I mean, it's a great episode. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, there's, like you already mentioned with the venture capitalists, there was already a bunch of other rich guys from South Africa who already followed him. It's almost a surprise that Elon Musk hadn't already been following him already.
Well, he did it when he learned he was a white supremacist, right? And he knows people target his track his follows too. It's a message.
Yeah.
Right. It's a message.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, you should have known Hanania was a white supremacist. I called him a racist in May. And it wasn't like me being Nostradamus. It was because he said, when are we going to have the stomach to, it was something, I'm being a little slightly reductive, 2%, but it was like, when are white people going to have this stomach to lock up more black people?
Yeah.
And it's we didn't quite need leaks. It's useful to have them. It colors out what everybody should have known. And I mean, the bigger problem is the constellation around this guy and how we still have to hear from Hanania.
You know why it's useful though? It's that this is how white supremacists launder their talking points into the public, is that they don't they rely on that plausible deniability so much. I guess
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's if you look at this guy's writing and his just what he posts on social media, it's quite obvious where his these are and what he believes. But I do think there is an extra push over the edge when you so openly write this stuff on white supremacist websites. It's no big reveal for him, but for me, it's telling on the people who are fans of his. This is a guy who days before or weeks before, some short time before this report dropped, the founder, one of the co-founders of Substack, had Richard Hanania on the Substack podcast, where they spoke about what a great heterodoxical thinker he was, or something like that. You know how these guys are, the Greenwaldian types who love this sort of, censored? I wonder why. And then you find out it's because they were flagrantly going against the platform's terms of service by being openly racist or white supremacist or something. And then they go around going, can't talk about these ideas anymore. It's amazing.
All right. Well, Bender, you might want to just plug your microphone in. Where I'm
doing the thing again.
It's a little bit crispy.
Yeah.
All right. I'll deal with that now.
Josh from Tucson says, I love watching Brandon's face while you guys talk about white supremacy.
No, it's just funny because I just think of the bar is so low. It's just don't post post on Stormfront. Like it's just
Yeah.
don't have like a Stormfront account where the name is just like 888 execute blacks. You can post shittily made graphs from the abstracts of studies you don't understand that have been reputed or disputed by actual scientists all day on Twitter that say like black people's IQ is 30% lower than white people, with like emoji with the thumb under the chin going like interesting. And that's like, people will be fooled. Well, not real people, but like the people who make up their audiences will be fooled to think that just provides you plausible deniability. So it's just funny when people like Andrew Sullivan just finally get called out like, oh, you finally stepped over like the lowest bar.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'd say like one of the main uses of Twitter as it continues to exist is to be as unpleasant to these sorts of roaches as possible when the lights flip on in the kitchen and they're on the countertop. Hanania, like his response is so fucking like pathetic. His blog post on Substack was, "I used to suck. Hopefully, I don't now."
Yeah.
What does that mean? I used to suck. You used to write on Nazi message boards under a pen name. You fucking cretin.
I used to openly advocate for the execution of undesirables, in my opinion, but now I realize that America is like subtly executing undesirables and then overtly in some places, so I no longer feel that's necessary. That's what that means.
I have to be more subtle in concert. Yeah.
To the extent that you aren't organizing with a socialist party but want to be politically active, I think going on to social media and harassing people like Hanania and the people who are welcoming Hanania back after, I think do it as much, do it till you get banned. If you want to get banned on Twitter, do it that way. Don't just leave Twitter making life horrible for people like this.
I mean, Twitter's on the way out anyway. Like, the site can't sustain itself once it's just people like that, like different flavors of like white supremacists, like arguing about what's the best way to keep the veil up.
I know. I'm just hoping he sells. I don't know why I'm hoping that, but that's probably a hope against hope.
No.
Yeah.
He'll keep it through the election.
I think Matt's mic is out.
Oh yeah, Bender, your mic's out.
Dang, mic troubles. In the meantime, I'll read some IMs.